The notification ping from my phone cuts through the morning silence like a blade. Credit alert. Again. I stare at the screen, my coffee growing cold in my trembling hands as the numbers blur together in a familiar pattern of financial devastation. Another loan. Another signature that isn't mine but bears my name. Another piece of my life stolen while I slept. Rachel's still in bed, her auburn hair spread across the pillow like spilled wine. She looks peaceful, innocent. The same face I've loved for 8 years, the same woman who promised to honor and cherish me, the same wife who's been systematically destroying my credit score, one forged signature at a time. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from an unknown number. Payment overdue. Your wife said you'd handle it personally. Trevor. Trevor. The name that's been haunting my credit reports for months. The ghost in our marriage I never knew existed until the bank statements started arriving like death certificates for my financial future. I watch Rachel's chest rise and fall, each breath a lie she doesn't even know she's telling. She has no idea I've been tracking her digital footprints, that I know about the secret email account, the burner phone, the post office box across town. She thinks I'm still the trusting husband who believes her when she says the bills are just accounting errors. But this morning everything changes. Because last night, while she thought I was asleep, I heard her on the phone with him, planning their next move, planning how to drain what's left of my 401k to keep their fantasy alive. The coffee cup slips from my hands, shattering against the kitchen floor. The sound echoes through our pristine suburban home like a gunshot. Rachel stirs, mumbling something about being tired. Always so tired these days, exhausted from living a double life. I stare at the mess of ceramic and coffee, and something inside me crystallizes. This is it. This is the moment I stop being the victim and start being the predator. She wants to play games with signatures? Let's see how she likes mine when it's on divorce papers. 3 hours later, I'm sitting in my car outside Trevor's apartment complex, watching him stumble to his mailbox in yesterday's clothes. He's younger than I expected, maybe 25, with the kind of practiced charm that screams trouble. His BMW sits in the parking lot, gleaming in the morning sun, a car that my credit helped finance, my identity helped steal. My phone rings. Rachel's name flashes on the screen, her photo smiling up at me with that same innocent expression she wore this morning. I let it go to voicemail, then listen as her sweet voice tells me she's running errands and will be home by dinner. Errands. Right. I watch Trevor check his phone, see his face light up as he reads something. Probably a text from my wife, coordinating their next financial assault on my life. He looks happy, satisfied, like a man who's found the perfect mark. The bitter taste of betrayal floods my mouth as I remember our anniversary last month. Rachel had been so attentive, so loving. She'd even suggested we refinance the house to start fresh. I'd trusted her to handle the paperwork while I was traveling for work. Now I understand why she was so eager to take care of the details. A text notification breaks my surveillance. It's from my lawyer's office. Documents ready for pickup. Perfect timing. Phase 1 of my counterattack is about to begin. I drive to the law office, my hands steady on the wheel despite the storm brewing in my chest. Marcus Weinberg, my attorney, greets me with the kind of grave expression reserved for terminal diagnoses and custody battles. "Are you sure about this approach, David?" he asks, sliding a thick manila envelope across his mahogany desk. "Once we file these papers, there's no going back. The forensic accounting, the identity theft charges, it's going to get ugly." "It's already ugly," I reply, tucking the envelope into my jacket pocket. "I'm just making it honest." The weight of the papers against my chest feels like armor. Inside that envelope are financial records, forged signature comparisons, and a detailed timeline of how my wife and her boyfriend have been systematically destroying my credit. But more importantly, it contains something they don't expect: a meticulously crafted plan to turn their own weapons against them. My phone buzzes again. Another credit alert. This time it's a personal loan for $15,000, approved this morning while I was watching Trevor count his ill-gotten gains. They're getting bolder, more desperate, which means they're running out of credit lines to exploit. Time to give them exactly what they're asking for. I arrive home to find Rachel in the kitchen, humming while she prepares what looks like an expensive dinner. Lobster tails, wine that costs more than our monthly grocery budget, candles flickering on our dining room table. She's dressed in the black dress I bought her for our last anniversary, the one she wore when she promised to love me forever. "Welcome home, baby," she purrs, standing on her toes to kiss my cheek. Her perfume, a new scent I don't recognize, mingles with the aroma of butter and garlic. "I thought we should celebrate." "Celebrate what?" I ask, keeping my voice carefully neutral as I hang my jacket in the closet. The envelope crinkles softly against the fabric. "Us," she says, her eyes bright with an excitement that makes my stomach turn. "Our future. I've been thinking about what you said last month, about taking more risks, being more adventurous with our investments." Investments? Is that what she's calling it now? I sit at our dining table, the same table where we've shared 8 years of meals, dreams, and promises. The candlelight flickers across her face, highlighting the lines of stress around her eyes that I've only recently learned to recognize as guilt. "What kind of investments?" I ask, cutting into the lobster tail with surgical precision. "Well," she begins, her voice taking on that breathless quality she uses when she's about to lie. "Trevor, you remember Trevor from my yoga class? He's got this amazing opportunity, a startup that's about to go public. He says we could triple our money in 6 months. Trevor from yoga class. The lies are getting lazier. I nod thoughtfully, chewing the overpriced seafood that my stolen credit probably paid for. Sounds risky. How much are we talking about? Just $50,000 to start, she says, her hand reaching across the table to cover mine. Her wedding ring catches the candlelight, the same ring I worked double shifts to afford. I know it sounds like a lot, but Trevor says, I'm in, I interrupt. She blinks, momentarily confused by the lack of resistance. You are? Absolutely. In fact, I think we should go bigger. Why not 100,000? I lean forward, my voice filled with the enthusiasm of a man who's found religion. You're right, Rachel. I've been too conservative, too afraid to take chances. The confusion in her eyes gives way to something hungrier, greedier. She's recalculating, adjusting her plans to accommodate this unexpected windfall of trust. That's wonderful, David. Trevor will be so pleased. He's been worried about having enough capital to really make this work. She squeezes my hand, her touch electric with anticipation. We could retire early, travel the world, everything we've always talked about. Everything we've talked about. Built on the foundation of my financial ruin. I smile, raising my wine glass in a toast. To new beginnings. The crystal chimes as our glasses touch, a delicate sound that masks the grinding of gears in my head. She has no idea what new beginning I'm actually planning. After dinner, I excuse myself to my home office, claiming I need to review some work emails. Rachel doesn't question it. She's too busy texting someone, probably Trevor, sharing the good news about their expanded payday. I lock the door and pull out the manila envelope. Inside are divorce papers, yes, but also something more valuable. A complete financial forensics report compiled by the best private investigator money can buy. Every transaction, every forged signature, every lie documented with the precision of a surgical strike. But the most beautiful part isn't the evidence of their crimes, it's the trap I've built around them. My phone rings. It's Trevor, probably unable to contain his excitement about the $100,000 score he thinks is coming his way. David, this is Trevor. Rachel gave me your number. I wanted to thank you personally for your confidence in our venture. His voice is smooth, practiced. The voice of a man who's made a career out of separating marks from their money. Of course, Trevor. Rachel speaks very highly of you. I'm excited to be part of something with such potential. Fantastic. Now, to move quickly on this opportunity, we'll need the funds by tomorrow afternoon. Rachel mentioned you might prefer to handle the transfer personally? Of course she did. Can't have a paper trail leading back to her when this inevitably goes south. Actually, Trevor, I'd love to meet in person. Discuss the details face to face. Are you free for lunch tomorrow? A pause. He wasn't expecting direct contact with the mark. Sure, David. That sounds great. There's a steakhouse downtown, Morton's. How about 1 o'clock? Perfect. And Trevor, bring all the paperwork. I want to make sure everything is completely legitimate before I commit this kind of money. Another pause, longer this time. Of course. See you tomorrow. I hang up and lean back in my leather chair. The same chair where I used to plan family vacations and anniversary surprises. Now I'm planning the systematic destruction of the woman I once loved and the man who helped her steal my life. My computer chimes with an email notification. It's from the bank, confirming the new account I opened this morning. An account Rachel knows nothing about. An account where my real assets are now safely hidden, protected by passwords she'll never guess, and security questions only I can answer. The knock on my office door is soft, tentative. David, are you coming to bed soon? Just finishing up some work, I call back. I'll be there in a few minutes. I hear her footsteps retreat down the hallway, probably back to her phone to coordinate tomorrow's heist with Trevor. Let them plan. Let them dream about the fortune they think they're about to steal. Tomorrow they'll learn the difference between being a predator and being prey. The next morning, Rachel is already gone when I wake up. A note on the kitchen counter explains she's having lunch with her sister. But I know better. She's probably coordinating with Trevor, making sure their story is airtight for our afternoon meeting. I dress carefully, my best suit, the one I wore to my father's funeral. It feels appropriate. Today marks the death of my marriage and the birth of something harder, sharper. The drive to Morton's gives me time to review my strategy. Trevor thinks he's meeting a naive husband ready to hand over a fortune. Instead, he's walking into a carefully constructed trap, one that will snap shut the moment he tries to take what isn't his. I arrive early and choose a corner table with a clear view of the entrance. The restaurant is busy, filled with business lunches and power brokers making deals. The perfect place for what's about to unfold. Trevor arrives precisely on time, his BMW keys dangling from his fingers like a trophy. He's younger than I expected from my surveillance, with the kind of confidence that comes from never facing real consequences. His handshake is firm, his smile practiced. David, great to finally meet you. Rachel talks about you constantly. I bet she does. We order drinks, scotch for him, water for me. I need my head clear for what's coming. So, tell me about this opportunity, I begin, pulling out a legal pad as if I'm genuinely interested in taking notes. Rachel mentioned it's a startup? Trevor launches into a polished presentation about a revolutionary app that's about to change everything. The numbers are impressive, the projections astronomical. It's the kind of pitch that might actually work on someone who doesn't know it's complete fiction. The beauty of getting in at this level, he continues, his eyes bright with manufactured enthusiasm, is that we're looking at 1,000% return within the first year. Your 100,000 could become 1 million practically overnight. I nod thoughtfully, scribbling notes that probably look like genuine interest to him. And the paperwork? For tax purposes, I'll need everything documented properly. He slides a folder across the table. Everything you need is right here. Investment agreements, disclosure documents, the works. I open the folder and immediately recognize the quality of the forgery. The letterhead looks legitimate, the language is convincing, but the details don't quite add up. Company registration numbers that don't exist, financial projections that defy basic math. This looks very thorough, I say, closing the folder. Just one question, how exactly does Rachel fit into all this? Trevor's smile flickers for just a moment. She's been instrumental in identifying potential investors. Her network is incredible. Her network. That's one way to describe identity theft. I lean forward, my voice dropping to a confidential whisper. Trevor, can I be completely honest with you? He nods, probably thinking he's about to hear my deepest financial fears or investment anxieties. I know exactly what you and my wife have been doing. The color drains from his face like water from a broken dam. His hand freezes halfway to his scotch glass. I know about the forged signatures, the false loan applications, the systematic destruction of my credit. I know about the post office box, the burner phone, the secret bank account you've been using to launder the money. Trevor's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. Around us, the restaurant continues its normal rhythm of clinking glasses and business conversations, oblivious to the trap springing shut at table 12. David, I think there's been some misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding, I interrupt, my voice still calm but carrying the weight of absolute certainty, is you thinking I'm stupid enough to hand you more money to steal. I reach into my jacket and pull out my phone, swiping to a recording app that's been running since I sat down. Every word of this conversation is being recorded, Trevor. Your admission that Rachel has been recruiting investors, which we both know means victims, is particularly interesting. He lurches to his feet, knocking over his scotch. The amber liquid spreads across the white tablecloth like a bloodstain. This is entrapment. You can't. Actually, I can, and I have. I remain seated, my voice never rising above conversational level. See, while you've been busy destroying my credit, I've been building a case. Financial records, handwriting analysis, digital forensics. Everything you and Rachel have done for the past year is documented with the kind of detail that makes prosecutors very, very happy. Trevor's eyes dart around the restaurant, probably looking for an escape route, but there isn't one. The walls are closing in, and he knows it. What do you want? He whispers, his voice cracking like an adolescent's. I stand up, straightening my tie with deliberate care. I want you to understand that your little partnership with my wife is over. The accounts you've been draining are empty. The credit lines you've been abusing are frozen. And in about 6 hours, when my lawyer files the paperwork, both of you are going to discover what it feels like to be the defendants instead of the perpetrators. I drop a 20 on the table to cover my water. Oh, and Trevor? That BMW you're so proud of? The one purchased with a loan using my forged signature? Repo Man's probably hooking it up to his truck right about now. His face goes white as he fumbles for his phone, probably trying to call Rachel or check on his car. Too late for both. I walk away, leaving him standing in the wreckage of his confidence and the growing puddle of spilled scotch. Behind me, I hear him frantically dialing, his voice rising as he realizes the magnitude of his situation. The valet brings my car around, and I tip him generously. It's a beautiful day, perfect for watching someone's world collapse from a distance. My phone buzzes with a text from Rachel. How did lunch go with Trevor? Are you excited about our investment? I type back. Very educational. Can't wait to discuss it when you get home. The drive back to my house feels different. Lighter somehow. Like I've been carrying a weight I didn't realize was there, and now it's gone. The streets look brighter. The sky seems clearer. Rachel's car is in the driveway when I arrive, which means she's already heard from Trevor. I can see her silhouette through the living room window, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. The front door is unlocked, which is unusual. Rachel always locks the door, a habit from her childhood in a rough neighborhood. But today she's probably too distracted to remember her security protocols. I find her in the kitchen, her phone pressed to her ear, her voice tight with barely controlled panic. "No, you have to fix this. You promised me this was foolproof." She doesn't notice me at first. Too focused on whatever crisis Trevor is describing. Her free hand gestures wildly as she talks, the same hand that signed my name to dozens of fraudulent documents. "Rachel," I say quietly. She spins around, nearly dropping her phone. Her face is flushed, her eyes wide with something between fear and fury. "David, you're home early." "Am I? I thought I'd grab dinner with my wife, maybe discuss our new investment opportunity." She ends her call without saying goodbye, her fingers trembling as she sets the phone on the counter. "Listen, there's been a complication with Trevor's project. Some paperwork issues. We might need to delay." "The paperwork looks fine to me," I interrupt, pulling out the folder Trevor gave me. "Very creative. Especially the part where you've been using my identity to co-sign loans for your boyfriend's lifestyle." The word boyfriend hits her like a physical blow. She stumbles backward, her hip hitting the kitchen island. "David, you don't understand. It's not what you think." "I understand perfectly. You've been stealing from me for over a year, using my credit to fund your affair with a con artist who's young enough to be your little brother." Tears start streaming down her face, but they look more like desperation than genuine remorse. "We were going to pay it all back. Once Trevor's business took off, we were going to fix everything." "Trevor doesn't have a business, Rachel. He has a scheme. And you're not his partner, you're his accomplice." I set the folder on the counter, right next to her phone. "The question now is whether you want to be his fellow defendant or my cooperating witness." Her mouth opens and closes, no sound coming out. She's calculating, trying to figure out which option gives her the best chance of survival. "What are you saying?" I reach into my jacket and pull out the second envelope, the one Marcus gave me yesterday. "I'm saying you have a choice. You can face identity theft charges, fraud charges, and conspiracy charges alongside Trevor. Or you can sign these divorce papers, confess everything to the authorities, and testify against him." She stares at the envelope like it's a venomous snake. "You want a divorce? I want my life back. The life you stole when you decided I was nothing more than a source of credit for your boyfriend's fantasies." The silence stretches between us, filled with 8 years of memories that now feel like lies. The kitchen where we planned our future, the counter where we shared morning coffee, the window that looks out on the garden we planted together, all of it tainted by her betrayal. "How long have you known?" she asks, her voice barely audible. "Long enough to protect myself, long enough to gather evidence, long enough to realize that the woman I married died sometime last year, and what's left is just a stranger wearing her face." She flinches as if I've slapped her. Maybe I have, with the truth. "I loved you," she whispers. "No, you loved what I could provide. The stability, the credit, the respectability. Trevor gives you excitement and passion, but he can't co-sign a loan or pay a mortgage, so you decided to take the best of both worlds and leave me with nothing." My phone chimes with a text notification. It's from Marcus. Papers filed, accounts frozen, criminal complaint submitted to DA's office. The machinery of justice is in motion now, grinding toward its inevitable conclusion. "Rachel, the offer expires in 1 hour. Sign the papers and cooperate, or face the consequences with your boyfriend. She looks at the envelope, then at me, then back at the envelope. The woman who once promised to love and honor me is weighing her options like a defendant plea bargaining her way out of prison. If I sign, what happens to me? You start over. Somewhere else, with someone else. The criminal charges get reduced if you testify against Trevor, and you walk away with whatever dignity you have left. And if I don't sign? Then you and Trevor can share a cell and compare notes on how you destroyed your lives for a fantasy that was never real. She picks up the envelope with shaking hands, her tears falling onto the manila paper. The Rachel I married would never have gotten into this situation, but that Rachel died long ago, suffocated under the weight of her own lies and betrayals. The sound of her opening the envelope is like tearing fabric. Inside are divorce papers that will dissolve our marriage and financial documents that will protect whatever assets I have left. Her signature will be the final nail in the coffin of our relationship. She reads through the papers carefully, probably looking for some loophole or escape clause. But Marcus is thorough, and the documents are airtight. "You've thought of everything," she says, her voice hollow. "I learned from the best. You taught me how to plan in secret, how to hide my real intentions, how to manipulate someone who trusts you." She flinches again, but doesn't deny it. The truth is too obvious, too well documented. "I never meant for it to go this far," she says, her pen hovering over the signature line. "You meant for it to go exactly this far. You just didn't plan on getting caught." She signs with a flourish that matches the signatures she forged on my loan applications. The irony isn't lost on either of us. "There," she says, sliding the papers across the counter. "Are you happy now?" "I'm free. For the first time in a year, I'm free from wondering what financial bomb is going to explode next. What new debt will appear on my credit report? What new lie you'll tell to cover your tracks?" She stands there for a moment, looking around the kitchen as if seeing it for the first time. Or maybe for the last time. "I'll pack some things," she says finally. "Your sister is expecting you. I called her this morning." Another flash of surprise crosses her face. Even in the end, I'm 2 steps ahead. She walks toward the stairs, then stops. "David?" "What?" "For what it's worth, I really did love you, before all this started." I don't answer. There's nothing to say. Love doesn't forge signatures or steal identities or destroy the life of someone you promised to protect. I hear her moving around upstairs, gathering the pieces of her life that she can carry. In an hour, she'll be gone, and this house will be mine again, empty but clean. My phone rings. It's Marcus. "David, I have news. Trevor tried to flee. Airport security picked him up trying to board a flight to Mexico with a false passport. The FBI is very interested in talking to him about his international financial activities." "And Rachel?" "If she signed the papers and agrees to testify, she'll probably get probation and community service. Trevor's looking at federal charges and serious prison time. Justice. It tastes bitter, but it's better than the poison of betrayal." Rachel comes downstairs with 2 suitcases and a look of absolute defeat. Her face is puffy from crying, her makeup smeared, her hair disheveled. She looks nothing like the confident woman who kissed me goodbye this morning. "The papers are on the counter," I tell her. "Marcus will file them tomorrow morning." She nods, not meeting my eyes. At the door, she turns back one last time. "I hope you find someone who deserves you," she says. "I hope you find yourself. The real you, not the person Trevor turned you into." The door closes behind her with a soft click. Through the window, I watch her load her suitcases into her car and drive away. The taillights disappear around the corner, taking with them 8 years of marriage and the last remnant of my old life. The house feels different now. Quieter, but also lighter. Like a weight has been lifted from the very foundation. I pour myself a glass of wine, the good stuff I've been saving for a special occasion. This seems special enough. The end of one life and the beginning of another. My phone buzzes with a notification from my credit monitoring service. For the first time in months, there are no new inquiries, no suspicious activity, no unauthorized accounts. The bleeding has stopped. Tomorrow I'll start rebuilding. New bank accounts in my name only, new passwords, new security protocols. A new life built on the ashes of the old one. 6 months later, I'm sitting in a coffee shop downtown, reading the newspaper article about Trevor's sentencing. 5 years in federal prison for identity theft and wire fraud. Rachel got probation and community service, just like Marcus predicted. She testified against Trevor, providing the details that sealed his conviction. I haven't seen her since that night she packed her bags. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago, and my credit score is slowly recovering. The house is mine again, legally and emotionally. My phone vibrates with a text from an unknown number. David, this is Rachel. I know I have no right to contact you, but I wanted you to know I'm in therapy now, learning to understand why I did what I did. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry. I stare at the message for a long time, then delete it without responding. Some bridges, once burned, should stay that way. Excuse me, is this seat taken? I look up to see a woman about my age, holding a coffee cup and gesturing to the empty chair across from me. She has kind eyes and a genuine smile, the kind that doesn't hide secrets or calculate advantages. It's all yours, I say, folding my newspaper. Thank you, I'm Sarah. David? She settles into her chair and pulls out a book, something about starting over after major life changes. The irony makes me smile. Good read, I ask. Very, though I'm finding that starting over is easier in theory than in practice. Tell me about it. I'm something of an expert on new beginnings myself. We talk for an hour about books, about life, about the challenge of rebuilding after everything falls apart. She doesn't ask about my past, and I don't volunteer details. There's something refreshing about being just David, not David the victim of identity theft, or David the divorced guy. When she gets up to leave, she hesitates at my table. I don't usually do this, she says, but would you like to have dinner sometime? Somewhere that isn't a coffee shop? I look at her, really look at her. There's no calculation in her eyes, no hidden agenda. Just a woman asking a question and hoping for an honest answer. I'd like that, I tell her. I'd like that very much. She smiles and hands me her business card. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, financial advisor. The irony is almost too perfect. Call me, she says, then walks away. I watch her go, then look down at the card in my hand. A financial advisor, someone who helps people rebuild their economic lives after disaster strikes. Someone who probably understands better than most what it means to start over. My phone buzzes again, another text from Rachel's number. I saw in the paper that Trevor's appeal was denied. I wanted you to know that I'm glad justice was served. You deserved better than what we did to you. This time I don't delete the message immediately. Instead, I type back, I hope you find the help you need. Take care of yourself. Then I delete her number from my contacts. Some chapters need to be closed completely before new ones can begin. That evening, I call Sarah. We make plans for dinner Friday night at a small Italian restaurant I've never been to with Rachel. A place with no history, no baggage, no ghosts. As I hang up the phone, I feel something I haven't experienced in over a year. Anticipation for the future. Not fear of what financial disaster might be waiting, Not anxiety about what new betrayal might surface, but genuine excitement about what comes next. I look around my house now, bought back with honesty and hard work. The walls hold new memories. Quiet evenings reading. Phone calls with friends I'd lost touch with during my marriage. Small victories in rebuilding my credit and my life. On my desk is a letter from the district attorney's office, thanking me for my cooperation in the Trevor Williams case and informing me that restitution proceedings are moving forward. I'll recover some of the money he stole, maybe even most of it. But more importantly, I've recovered something that can't be quantified or deposited in a bank account. My self-respect. The knowledge that I'm not a victim anymore, not a mark to be exploited or a signature to be forged. I'm a man who trusted the wrong person, learned from the experience, and chose to fight back instead of fold. A man who signed himself out of a nightmare and into a new beginning. My identity is my own again, and this time I'm not sharing the password.